Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to a Northbasics video on this channel, a series that we didn't have for quite a time on the channel. Here I want to talk to you about the basic mechanics that are in Northgard and try to explain them to you as good as I can. In this episode we're going to talk about food and wood in Northgard, the two most important resources in Northgard, also the two most basic ones, the most easy to acquire, but also the ones without nothing in Northgard would really work. So let's not talk around here for all too long and just jump right into the meat. The first and probably most important resource in Northgard would be food. Food is basically the lifeline of your clan, because every single villager of you will consume a little bit of food, so you will always need to have something in stock so your villagers do not get sick. There are actually manifold ways to acquire food. One of the most basic ones would be your villagers that you have always around your town hall at the start of the game. All the numbers that I talk about in this video are on hard difficulty, because it's usually the most played mode in Northgard, because it's also the mode that the ranked gameplay is going to be played on. You can also play on easy and medium difficulty, which will basically change the consumption of food and wood from your villagers by a little bit, and therefore make the game a little bit easier because you have more resources. In the summer, a villager will produce +4 food for you, but will also consume 1.5 food. This consumption will never change for a villager. If it is a warrior, a woodcutter, or a farmer, the consumption will always stay the same. This will only change if you take a specific lore that changes the consumption. For example, the ranger lore of the Raven clan, which will let scouts not consume any food anymore. This consumption will even stay the same in winter, and the reason that you oftentimes run into food problems in winter is that your villagers' production will drop down to only 2.6. This is a production drop from almost 40%, and is oftentimes the reasons why the clan can barely keep itself alive in winter. So if you want to have a stable food source, you're gonna have to rely on one of the food sources surrounding you, which can be hunters, fishers, or farmers. These different food sources have their own up and down sides, but in the end it all comes down to the same yearly production. So farmers will have a production of +5 in summer, but when it comes to winter it will drop down to 2.6, so basically just as low as a normal villager. Fishers, on the other hand, have a production of 4.3 food in summer and will not drop at all in winter. So if you are looking for a great food source in the summer, farmers would be your choice, and if you feel like you need something to get you over the winter, fishers would be the better choice. But like I said before, seen over the whole year, the food production for both of the food sources will be roughly the same. In between the two extremes of farmers and fishers are the hunters. Hunters will produce 4.75 food in summer and 3.125 food in winter. Basically being the middle ground in between fishers and farmers, being relatively good in summer but also relatively good in winter. What you want to go for there really comes down to what your clan wants. So for example, for Kraken clan, obviously it would make sense to go for fishers. But it can oftentimes also just come down to personal preference. I personally really like to have a lot of food in summer and a strong food production in summer. So for me personally, farmers are oftentimes the choice when I have one. Even though there are definitely situations where I will also go for fishers, because I feel like building a farm just before the winter just doesn't make sense anymore, and the fisherman's hut would give me a lot more throughout the winter. But I also know a lot of players that really prefer fishers because they just like it more that their food is not dropping as much in winter, making the eco a little bit easier to manage, and also they are not forced to get a big food stack before the winter comes, as you would need to do when you have a farm. If you want to boost your food even further, there's of course also different ways of doing that. You can either upgrade them, giving you one additional slot for an extra worker and giving you a +20 production bonus for all of them, or you build a silo, which will give all food workers a 10% bonus on their production. This only counts towards specialized workers, so villagers will not be affected by that. Healers and sheeps, however, are not counted as specialized food workers and will therefore not get buffed by a silo, even though it seems a little bit weird. If I personally want to boost my food economy and I have the choice between upgrading a building and building a silo on the tile, I will usually always upgrade the building first, because the amount of food you get out of there is a lot higher than by just building a silo. It's not only that you get a 20% extra bonus production on top of it instead of only 10, but also that you get one additional slot for an extra worker. If you then want to upgrade your food even further, of course, just build a silo in it, maybe even go for the eradication lore and maybe upgrade the silo in the later stages of the game. While in my opinion the upgraded silo is one of the most decadent upgrades, and you should only really do that when you feel like you have the stone to spare. Oftentimes, just gaining a new food source and building another food building that you can then upgrade is the way more efficient way of getting more food. But if there's really no way for you to expand and you really need more food, it might be your only option. So keep in mind, upgrading the silo is always possible. But to do basically all of this, we're gonna need the other resource that is a big part of this video, and that will be wood. When I started playing Northgard, I felt like wood is the most important resource in Northgard. Because without wood, you're not able to build any buildings, and with these buildings, you basically get a better food production, you get a better wood production, you get access to gold. There's so many things that you can do when you have wood. Even though my views have changed a little bit, seeing that food and lore is just as important for a vital early game, I still feel like wood is the main driver of your eco development. And if you don't have enough of it, your eco will basically just be stalling. So if you are one of the clans that is interested in a big eco, always watch out to have enough wood to build new buildings, upgrade new buildings and whatnot. Just as food, wood is also one of the resources that will permanently be consumed by your villagers. It is a lot lower than for food though. Having a wood consumption per villager in summer by 0.1 and in winter by 0.35. So the consumption of your villagers is a lot lower, and it is also a lot easier to come by than food. Because you can basically build a woodcutter's lodge in every single of your tiles, making it very easy to add additional woodcutter's lodges if you need more. And every single of your woodcutters will be producing 4.8 wood for you throughout the whole year, so it will not change throughout winter. If you are lucky enough to find a forest around you, each of your woodcutters will even produce you 5.2 wood per tick. So this will basically be better than the farmer's food production in summer throughout the whole year. So that is why I think it is a little bit easier to come by a lot of wood than food, because it is just very easy to expand your wood economy, and on food you're a little bit reliant on your spawn and which food sources spawned around you and how many of them. So you will never really need to adapt your wood economy, and if you find a good amount of woodcutters lodges that you can come through the game with, you can usually go for that with every single game and will not need to adapt for different spawns. This is why wood is a very consistent resource, but nonetheless very important for the build-up of your eco. It doesn't really matter if it's food or wood though, they are two of the resources that you generally only need a finite amount of. So you basically only need enough food to feed your people, colonize all the tiles that you want, and maybe get out a feast or two. Same thing goes for wood. So you basically want to have enough wood to not start freezing. You want to have enough to build all the buildings that you want, basically your eco, your camps later on. But after that, you won't really have a benefit of having 3000 wood laying around. So keep in mind that both of these resources are really essential for the start of your build-up, but in the end of the game will only be as important as your villagers not starving or freezing. So it is not like resources like gold or lore, where you basically can never have enough of. So always keep in mind that these resources are very important, but not the most important thing in the game. So always keep in mind that these resources are really important, but usually are not the reason why you are winning the game. So someone with 3 upgraded farms may have infinite food, all the food in the world, can be feasting, can colonize all the tiles that he wants, but he will still be at a disadvantage against the player that only upgraded 1 farm, therefore upgraded 2 other markets, and then starts to use the gold to attack the player with the 3 farms. So really focus on getting a good food and wood economy at the start of the game, but also find the point where you feel like, okay, I have enough of these resources now I should shift my focus to another resource or goal in this game. And with this, I think we came to the end of this little video here. I hope you could learn something about how food and wood works in Northgard, what it can be used for and how to acquire it. And if you enjoyed the video, I would be really happy about you leaving a like on the video, or maybe even subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this. So without further ado, this was the Crazy Dentist. Thanks a lot for watching and have a great day everyone. Bye bye.